I posted this old video on TikTok that was about the category was Crock Pot, and it was just this, silly little video I made, no big deal, whatever, at the beginning of the pandemic, and it just popped into my head for some reason. And I was like, oh, I should post that video on TikTok, whatever. Just thinking out loud, just thinking, and then following up, because you can't just think, you got to follow up as well. So I downloaded this video from my Instagram where it was posted, and then posted on TikTok, forgot about it. So I saunter back on TikTok a couple of days later, and I see that I have a comment from Crock Pot. And they're like, hey, we're loving this, check your DMs. And I'm like, first of all, Crock Pot, is that really you? Like, I just didn't expect to see you on here, And it's like, that's where I went wrong with it, because it's like, just as Crock Pot could be anywhere, so could anything else. It's like, never underestimate any brand, whether that's a all-inclusive cooking stove or a person, it's just like, you just gotta stay on your toes. And they were like, okay, check your DMs. And I'm like, okay, I'd love to check my DMs, except one little caveat. I haven't been messing with DMs on TikTok. I'm like, I didn't know you, like, I don't think I've ever gotten a DM. I mean, my sister sends me 4,000 videos a day, but it's like, is that a DM or is that a share? And it turns out that a lot of people didn't know where their TikTok DMs were. And to be honest, I'm not even quite sure where they're located at the moment. Doesn't matter. I couldn't find their DM. I was like panicking. Like, I was like, okay, I wasn't panicking, but I was like, well, I would like to find it, and it had already been a couple days, and I'm just like, wow, it's not every day that you get an open window into, just the life of Crock Pot, to get that kind of access. So I was like, wow, I wonder if my access will now be cut off. I just don't know if I missed the boat. I don't know. I'm like, where are my DMs? I just had to, I was like, I'll just DM them myself, because I guess I can initiate one. I don't know where they are. And so I just DM'd Crock Pot, which is always interesting. It's like, it feels like an entity. It's like, I know obviously someone is running the account, but it's like, it honestly kind of feels like it's its own thing. Like, it is Crock Pot, and I don't even know what that means, but it's just kind of like the concept of Crock Pot. That's who I'm typing with, not, some guy, some girl, whatever, some person, doesn't matter. Okay. This doesn't need to be like this. This just doesn't need to be like this. Welcome to episode 101, by the way. I mean, if you think we're going to stop at episode 100, it's like, if you think I'm going to get to the top of the mountain and be like, okay, let's turn around and go down, then you don't really know me, do you? You don't really know me. It's like, okay, we got to the top of the mountain. This is like when I got to Malibu last week. You think I'm going to go to a lunch and then just turn around and go home? It's like, we're here, let's hang out, So yeah, that's just what's kind of going on now. It's like, some people do like, all right, I did 100 episodes of my podcast, I did it. And it's like, yeah, what next? It's whatever. I'm not going to talk about David Goggins anymore, but when he finished this last, I think it was a 240-mile race, obviously he had a trillion trials and tribulations you wouldn't even begin to understand unless you read it. But after he completed this, just, I guess it's still a marathon at that point, Ultraman, I don't know. When he crossed the finish line, he just did like a minute of push-ups. Imagine that. You just walk, run, whatever. It's like, you have a certain amount of hours to complete it. You just did 240 miles. Like, you're done, you're dead, you're over, and then you've done it, you're done, you did what was required of you, and then you go down to the ground and do push-ups. I mean, that's so inspiring to me. Like, I'm just like, yeah, why are you just done when you cross the finish line? There is no finish line. The limit does not exist. Okay, what am I talking about? Crock Pot? Jesus Christ. Okay, so I'm like, Crock Pot, I'm not seeing your DM, like, but here I am. Like, I was like Crock Pot, like, summoned me. Like, they were like, check your DMs, like come through the door. And so I was just like, knock, knock, like, is anyone home? I was like, hey, Crock Pot, I know this isn't like the exact place you told me to meet you, but like I'm here now, you know? And yeah, so then they were like, oh, hey, they didn't skip a beat. Crock Pot didn't give a fuck. Like, Crock Pot is not holding you accountable for being 2 days late to this email. They don't care. They're not judging you. They're not punishing you. They're like, hey, welcome. And they're like, do you want a crock pot to go? And I was like, I guess, you know, it's like, do I want a crock pot to go? And it's like, I guess I knew them saying check your DMs is obviously them probably trying to be like, hey, we want to send you something. Like, they're not like, hey, check your DMs. Like, did you see the Timberwolves Memphis game last night? It's like, they're just like, it's Crock Pot, you know, it's gonna be Crock Pot related. They're not gonna be like, hey, do you want to be our spokesperson after one video? Although you never know. So it's like, I knew that why they're asking me to check in with them is they want to send me a Crock Pot, but it was like, I don't know, until they actually said that, I was like, oh, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something else. Like, oh, maybe do you want to be our spokesperson, you know, like whatever, something like that. Not actually that, but whatever. So they're like, do you want this crock pot to go? And it's like, I mean, just on the basic human principle of like, you're offering me something and I don't have to pay for it and I just want to take it, then yeah, I do want it. Even though it felt wrong. Like, I knew really deep down, like I was like, I actually don't want this mini crock pot. I already have a crock pot that I actually used one time. I could make a lot of excuses right now, and trust me, there are some unbelievable ones where I think you would actually really see it my way. But at the end of the day, these are the facts. I received this crock pot and I used it one time. And the thing is that, did I really ever want a crock pot to begin with? Because it's kind of like, I don't really get it. Like, it's like, what's the difference of just putting it in the damn stove? I feel like I thought it's like, you get a crock pot and it's like, you don't even have to cut stuff up. Like, you just throw in an entire head of celery and like, you know, all your soup ingredients, and then when you like, you don't chop anything, you just shove all the ingredients in there, and then you open it like a few hours later and it's like a perfect soup. Like, I actually, and maybe this is credit to them, believed that crock pot was just kind of magic. And so when we got it, and it's like, okay, so just put all of the things I would put in a regular stove into the crock pot instead, it's kind of just like, what's that different about it? And I know, you know, the slow cooking thing where it's like, you can put it in, you can make some chili at like 4 a.m. and come back at 2 p.m. and it's done, you know, but it's like, I don't even know. I might just be too OCD for that. It's like, I know you can leave it, but it's like, can you? I just don't know if I'm going to be able to go to CVS, go do a show, go do whatever, if I'm knowing that there's just like a fire hazard at home. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like, you can leave it. And it's like, but why have we always been taught to not leave it? Like, I don't know if I can just break myself of that train of thought, but I don't know. And you know what? It's truly, you can do something one time and have a memory of it, and it is honestly wrong. Like, you need to do things a few times, and I really, really forget that. So I would definitely have to use this crock pot again to just say a definitive answer. But why do I not want to? Why do I not want to use it again? I mean, also, it's like truly been packed away for 2 years. It's like, you have to wash it, this and that. Oh my God, it came with so many fucking parts. I'm just like, wait, what's this? It's like, that goes to the crock pot. I'm like, how? Like, it doesn't even actually make sense. Like, it'll be like a product that has actually nothing to do with cooking. It's like, that came with the crock pot. And it's like, why? And I just want to throw everything away. I truly actually want to just take this crock pot into the middle of the street and just like smash it with a baseball bat. Like, I don't care what happens to it. I just don't really want it. And I do feel like, okay, I do have to use it again to be making this sort of just wild accusations. And after they sent me the free mini to go crock pot, it's like, I love the idea of crock pot. I feel like so many people love it, and that's enough. It's like, I just don't know what the difference is between just putting it on the stove. And obviously there are some, but it's like, it's not quite different enough, is it? Is it? And I kind of like, maybe I'm just like a bit old fashioned. It's like, I just kind of like a classic pot. I don't need a whole machine. I don't need a whole apparatus, all right? Okay, so they're like, oh, they're like, do you want this mini crock pot? And in my head, I'm like, no, but then I'm typing yes. Like, because I'm just like, well, what am I going to do? Not take a mini crock pot? And it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I should have done. I should have been like, oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, but I actually don't need a mini crock pot. But that's the thing. Can you ever really trust yourself? It's like, I don't know what I need. I don't know if in 6 months, if I'm not going to make use out of that mini crock pot. It's like, who's to say? So they're like, all right, send us your address. Just send it. Just give them my address. It's like, I'm just DMing with Crockpot. I don't know who it is. I'm just like, here's my address. Here's everything. And, you know, I think about a week later, sure enough, this crock pot came, and I was like, what is this? When I got this package, and then I was like, oh my God, this is my mini crock pot. I unwrapped it. It's really cute. It's a little crock pot mini to go, but I'm just like, what am I gonna do with this? Let me go get it. Hold on. And we're back. Okay, so here is the crock pot to go. It's you know, it kind of looks like a little lunchbox, electric lunchbox, eco-friendly solution, less waste versus using single containers, dishwasher safe, okay, detachable cord. So you can just, it's basically a portable crock pot is what it is. And don't get me wrong, I love the idea. I love the idea of them sending me a free mini crock pot. Now that it's here, it's just been sitting on my counter for like 2 weeks, and I'm just like, oh boy, why did I accept this? Because you know what, it's like, and it felt wrong in the moment. I'm like, just because something's free, I'm really deeply believing this. It's like, I don't want anything. I don't care that it's free. I don't want it unless I'm gonna use it. Unless I do need it, I don't want it. It's like, now that this is here, I'm just like, it's not free. It takes up space in your mind, your heart, your apartment, house, what have you. It's like, but I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. And you know, maybe there will be a phenomenal opportunity for me to gift this to someone, and they'll be like, oh my God, this was exactly what I was looking for. And I'll be like, great. And whatever. Okay. Just got really hungry. I'm almost finished with The Power of Now. I mean, just a truly insane book. It's like, you just, for me sometimes, and probably a lot of people, it's like you hear about things so much that they just become, you don't actually realize that it's like, oh, I should read this book. Like, you just hear The Power of Now. Like, I feel like at some point it was like sort of a punchline to everything. Like, it's like, oh, the power of now, the power of now. But it's like, yeah, give it to me. Like, let me read it. It's like, how did this never occur to me till now? Whatever, this is the journey, and things come to you when they should. But it's like, I'm reading this book and I'm just walking around like, I'm like, okay, I am so enlightened. Like, I cannot even be around unenlightened people. Like, I'm on another level. And I don't know, probably everyone has read it, and maybe you guys are already enlightened. It doesn't seem like a lot of people I encounter are, but you know, and this isn't part of the teachings. It's not like, oh, judge people who aren't enlightened. It's just, It's really good, and I'm really glad I finally got my hands on it. I don't know what I'm going to read next. Like, I've been in such a just like spiritual, motivational, um, what's the word I want to use here? Could really be anything. Spiritual, emotional track. Not what I initially wanted, but let's just keep going. But then I'm like, oh, I guess that is kind of, okay, I could read, well, I probably just will read this book I found in like a neighborhood library that's just called Make Your Bed Every Day, and it seems just like short and breezy. And then I'm like, okay, do I read Stephen A. Smith's book that I just got, or do I read this more like fiction story that my sister gave me that she said was really good? These are the things that keep me up at night. I'm just kidding. All right, we'll see. I was just remembering last month as an early birthday present for myself, I went to get a facial. And I love my facial place. It's incredible. And I did go to a different girl last time, but I usually go to the same woman. And it doesn't matter. If you're like, well, I need to know this later, I'll just tell you now, you won't. It will never come up again, and it won't affect anything. So I went, and it's like, obviously a facial is supposed to be a very relaxing experience, and it is, and it was, but it was also like, I don't know, we started talking about like all this different stuff. It was like right after the holidays. So she was like, oh my God, everywhere is like so packed. Like we went here and it was just packed. There's just so many people everywhere. Everyone's just whatever. And then she was telling me that when she went to Disney World with her husband and her 2 kids, and she's like, it was one of the worst experiences of my entire life. Like she just got lost in it. Like she was just like reliving it, and it was like sounded like hell. And it wasn't like she was telling the story from a point of view of like, that's in the past, like I'm beyond it, I'm not affected by it anymore. It's like, it was as if she was there. Like I was like, should you be talking about this? Like, are you okay? And it was just like, before I knew it, it had been like 20 minutes of her just talking about this like just insane time at Disney World where it's like there's a billion people, they didn't do anything, they couldn't go anywhere, and I'm just like, I'm now feeling stressed out. Like, and I was just like, I don't know, there's no real point to it, but it was just out of character for her, and it was just like she needed to get this out. But it was like, I would have loved to not listen to an extremely chaotic recount of a Disney World experience. And will I ever go to Disney World? Probably not. I've never thought about it, and I'm okay with that. And I'm not going to sit here and like bash people who like Disneyland. It's like, do you? Me personally, I like Disneyland good and fine. I'm never going to Disney World. That's never something that I'm going to feel compelled to do. If I find myself there for work or, I guess play, then so be it. I'm not going to be like, no, but I'm definitely not going to seek it out. And now that I just said I wouldn't say no, it reminds me of the damn Crock Pot to go, where I should have said no. And I think that if someone asked me to go to Disney World, I would say no. And do not quote me on that, obviously, but do with that what you will. It's Monday, it's gloomy. God willing, I can get my car washed this week. I've actually been waiting to get my car washed, I feel like, since September. No, okay. I got my car washed when I got back from Europe. And I had actually really wanted to get it washed before I left. It wasn't that dirty, but I was like, oh, how fun would it be to like, I get back into town. It's like, wow, crazy. I just went to Europe for 2 weeks. And then I come back and my car is like so fucking clean. Like, I'm like, wouldn't that just be another level? And then I told that idea to my dad, and he's like, I feel like after 2 weeks, it wouldn't be that clean. Like, it would collect dust. Mind you, I park my car in an underground garage, and he knows that. But it's like, it kind of did make sense what he was saying. It's like, yeah, I guess just like time and like, I don't know, like maybe 2 weeks there would be dust. And so then I didn't do it. And yeah, whatever. But then I got it when I got back. And then I've truly probably haven't gotten a car wash since then. I've driven so many places. I've driven far places. I don't even recognize my car. Like, seriously? You know, whenever I go to the car wash, they're like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Just the basic shit, like the basic setup." Like, I don't know, what would I get? Like a tire polish? It's like that's not really like where I'm where my concerns lie at the moment. But I'm always like, yeah, just the standard vacuum and just wash it down, you know, and I don't know. When I go either, okay, no, I'm going to go on Wednesday, February 1st. When I go on Wednesday, February 1st, I'm going to be like, what's the next plan up? Like, what does another $10 get me? Because I just feel like my car is in a really disturbing state. And honestly, probably for a lot of people, it wouldn't be, you know, it's like it is mostly clean. It's just like, to me, it might as well be just covered in just absolute trash and filth. Like, I need my car so clean. I spend so much time in my car that it's like I need to feel clean and just like uncrowded in my car. So God, I feel like the Disneyland girl. I was just like unloaded all that on you. Like, you were like, we weren't stressed and now we are. Like, truly, I cannot recreate her level of hysteria in recounting this Disney World excursion. And I'm like, so what about this cleanser I'm using? Like, can we just kind of get back, you know? Anyways,